Now, here's one of the major problems behind seed oils and why they are so toxic to the human body. The major problem with seed oils is that because they create a lot of oxidation, which we're going to talk about, they deplete our bodies of antioxidant vitamins like vitamin C and vitamin E. And you might be thinking, if seed oils cause oxidation and deplete our bodies of these antioxidant vitamins, then why not just eat more of them? I mean, antioxidant vitamins, they fight the oxidation. It would make sense. And that's what I asked myself because I thought maybe the same thing. But it turns out there is actually a lot of research dedicated to this topic specifically over the past 80 years. And unfortunately, because we're eating so much seed oils in our culture today, even if we do supplement and eat more antioxidant vitamins like vitamin C and vitamin E, it's like taking 2 steps forward and 100 steps back. To prove this point, there was a series of studies conducted in the 1950s and 60s that was dedicated to looking at this subject. This was done on inpatients at hospitals in Illinois. So this was a very highly controlled study on patients that didn't leave. This was a very high retention rate on these patients. Now, half the patients were given a low PUFA diet. This is low polyunsaturated fatty acid diet containing lard, and the other half of the patients were given a high PUFA diet containing corn oil. The corn oil diet contained about 30% polyunsaturated fatty acids in their diet, which is really on par with what we are eating today. The lard group, on the other hand, only contained 4% polyunsaturated fatty acids, which is comparable to pre-industrialized cultures, which we're going to talk more about that in a minute. Now, in the beginning of the study, the researchers were right. They found that the high PUFA corn oil diet needed about 3 times more vitamin E than the lard group. But something interesting happened after 2 years of eating these diets. Across the board, the corn oil group's blood levels of vitamin E started to tank, even though they were still taking the same amount of vitamin E that they were 2 years to start the study. And when the researchers tested and biopsied the corn oil group's cell membranes, it tested extremely high for oxidative damage. This meant that the high amounts of vitamin E weren't enough to prevent the constant influx of oxidation from eating a high PUFA diet. So over the next 50 years until 2008, researchers were really trying to figure out why eating a high PUFA diet caused oxidative stress in these individuals. As it turns out, after bombarding your body with a high PUFA diet for just a few years, our fat cells get stuffed with so much polyunsaturated fats that they really just kind of stop working, and even worse, they release a ton of inflammatory cytokines. This is called oxidative stress. And once you pass that breaking point, it's really hard to undo that damage. This is that concept of the dose makes the poison. Will eating a little bit of French fries or a little bit of fried food or a little bit of seed oils now be harmful in the short term? Probably not. You might feel a little sluggish. You might feel some indigestion. You might feel a little inflamed. But if you span that out over a few years, you might do irreparable damage to your body and your cells and your cell membranes that we're going to talk more about. Because that's what oxidative stress is. Oxidative stress is caused by long-term excessive PUFA consumption, and this is the underlying culprit behind so many different health issues. Not only is oxidative stress involved in plaque formation and heart attacks and strokes, but it's also involved in the tau proteins in Alzheimer's disease and many other degenerative diseases like Parkinson's and multiple sclerosis. Oxidative stress is also involved in inflammation that drives autoimmune disorders like rheumatoid arthritis, irritable bowel disease, Hashimoto's, and more. And it's also involved in diabetes, cancer, and other chronic health issues that we're experiencing at epidemic rates today. This should be mind-blowing and super concerning because seed oils make up 80% of our fat calories today. 120 years ago, they made up 0% of our calories. Now they make up 80% of our fat calories and 20 to 30% of our overall total calories every single day. They're very hard to avoid because they're in over 80% of foods in the grocery store. And if you're feeling sluggish, tired, or you just don't have much energy, you have achy joints or dealing with a level of autoimmunity, or you're experiencing excessive weight and it's really hard to burn body fat, this could be a direct cause. None of these are a normal part of aging, and you can help all of these just by making a few simple tweaks to your diet, most predominantly by eliminating seed oils from your diet for just 30 to 60 days. So when advocates are talking about the health benefits of seed oils, they're just talking about, like I mentioned, seed oils lower LDL, and then they look at observational studies showing that when you eat more seed oils, you have less risk for heart disease. But they're never showing data talking about oxidative stress, and they're not talking about these major linoleic acid metabolites that can cause a host of health issues. Not to mention when seed oils are heated up, just on the stovetop, maybe you're sauteing a little bit of broccolini or Brussels sprouts. Shout out to Brussels sprouts. If you are heating seed oils up, if you throw a little bit of canola oil down or soybean oil down or sunflower oil down on a saucepan and you start heating that up, you're going to create even worse compounds called aldehydes. Maybe the most well-known one is called formaldehyde. This is a Group 1 carcinogen known to cause cancer by the World Health Organization. And aldehydes are so problematic, they lead to a host of health issues. And just to illustrate just how problematic these aldehydes are, there was a recent study published in 2019 in the prestigious medical journal Nature that found that just a 5-ounce, a little serving of French fries from a major fast food chain, fried in vegetable oil, contains 25 times more of these dangerous aldehydes than the World Health Organization's tolerable upper limit for exposure. They went on to say that this amount of toxins was the equivalent of smoking 20 to 25 cigarettes. So just eating 5-ounce serving of fries fried in seed oils created as many aldehyde cancer-causing compounds that you would get by smoking 25 cigarettes. That's absurd. And again, this is not to make you fear seed oils. This is not to scare you. This is just to make you aware that eating seed oils over a span of time can lead to health issues, can lead to oxidized LDL. It can lead to a disruption in your body fat and hormonal signaling. And as we're about to talk about, it even oxidizes our mitochondria. Mitochondria are basically the power plants inside of most of our cells in our body. And if you've been struggling with low energy, you can't burn body fat, brain fog, the list goes on and on. And if you've been struggling with this, it could be because your mitochondria are under a lot of oxidative stress from too much seed oil consumption.